The dog had placed himself between the baby and the vent 3 times. No one in the family asked why until it was almost too late. It started the week after the renovation. Isla, 9 months old, green onesie, was doing what 9-month-olds do on living room floors, pushing herself up on both arms, looking at things, occasionally putting her face down on the carpet and lifting it again with the satisfied expression of someone who has made a discovery. Her mother, Dana, a licensed electrician who had spent 12 years in residential installations, was cross-legged on the floor 4 feet away, coffee cooling on the end table beside her. They had just had new vinyl plank flooring installed. The nice kind, the kind the contractor showed them on a tablet with a 5-star rating and 0 complaints. The Bernese Mountain Dog was named Griff. He was 4 years old, 98 pounds, the kind of dog people stopped strangers to take photographs of. He had been calm around Isla since the day she came home. The specific calm of an animal that has decided the new small thing is its responsibility. The morning the behavior started, Griff did something he had never done before. He crossed the living room and lay down between Isla and a floor vent by the far wall, not near Isla. Between Isla and the vent, his back to the vent, his face toward the baby. Deliberate, positioned. Dana noticed. She told him to move. He moved 18 inches and lay back down in the same orientation. Vent behind him. Baby in front. She thought he was cold and seeking warmth near the heating register. She filed it there and moved on. The second morning, same behavior. The third morning, Griff began adding a component. He would circle the vent twice before lying down in front of it, then face the baby, then look at Dana, then face the baby again, each loop tighter than the last. If you stay for stories about what animals know before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Dana's husband, Patrick, came home on the 4th evening and she told him about it. He watched Griff do it once and said what Dana had been avoiding, saying, "He keeps putting himself between Isla and that vent." They looked at each other. Dana had installed HVAC systems. She knew what they did. She also knew what off-gassing was. She'd pulled permits on renovation jobs where the new materials were still releasing VOCs 3 weeks after install. The flooring was new. The vent was 6 feet from where the largest concentration of planks had been laid. She called the manufacturer's customer line the next morning. She was transferred twice. The third person she spoke to confirmed, without apparent concern, that their product had a standard VOC emission period of 7 to 10 days post-installation. Formaldehyde, benzene, and in some ventilation configurations, those compounds concentrating near floor-level registers where air circulated low and slow, at floor level, where a 9-month-old spent 6 hours a day. Dana called the indoor air quality testing service at 9 a.m. By 2 p.m., a technician named Garrett was in the living room with a meter. He stood near the vent with his instrument for 40 seconds, and then looked at Dana with the specific expression of a professional who has confirmed something and is deciding how to communicate it. The formaldehyde reading near the vent at floor level was 4 times the WHO recommended safe limit for infant exposure. Has your dog ever positioned himself somewhere that made no sense until you looked at what was behind him? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The pediatrician they saw that afternoon, Dr. Amara Sese, reviewed Isla's recent history. Slightly elevated white cell count from her last wellness check 2 weeks prior. Mild fussiness the previous week. Dana had attributed it to teething. Occasional cough at night. Dr. Say said in an infant at floor level in a room with improperly ventilated chemical off-gassing, the symptoms appear gradual and look like something else. You would not see a dramatic presentation. You would see what you saw: mild irritability, sleep disruption, a child who seems slightly below baseline without a clear reason. She paused. Continued exposure at those concentrations over another week could have produced measurable respiratory damage in a child this age. You caught it because you paid attention to the dog. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. The flooring company covered remediation. The room was ventilated for 11 days with industrial-grade air exchangers. The vent was redirected. Isla has no lasting effects. Griff never lay in front of that vent again. The morning the air quality test came back clean, he walked through the living room, glanced at the vent once, and lay down in his usual spot by the window, as if the job was finished. Dana sat on the new floor beside him that evening. She put her hand on his side. She thought about the 4 mornings she had told him to move, and he had moved only 18 inches. The exact distance that kept him in the role he'd assigned himself. Just outside where she could correct him again. 11 inches. That was the width of the zone Griff had been holding between her daughter and the air he could smell, and she could not. Next story, a rescue dog nobody wanted, and the night she earned her place in a family forever. The remediation team removed 7 planks from the worst affected section and ran industrial ventilation for 4 days before the VOC reading returned to acceptable levels. A building inspector certified the air quality on day 11. Dana photographed the certification and kept it in the folder with the testing report and the manufacturer's response letter. She showed the folder to her renovation clients for the next 2 years, not as a scare tactic, as information. She had installed floors in 40 homes. She had never thought about off-gassing at infant floor level in any of them. Griff taught her to think about it. He is still in the house, still in his spot by the window, still the kind of dog people stop to admire on walks. The enormous tricolor gentle giant who walks slowly and watches everything, and occasionally sees something that the humans around him are not yet looking for. Dana watches where he lies now. If he chooses a position she doesn't understand, she asks the question before she files it away. That is the only change. It turns out to be enough.